So I was watching the 85 South Show podcast yesterday while I was at dialysis. And Carlos Miller was talking to a young lady. I can't really remember her name, but I'll try to post the clip of that video again. And on this video, Carlos is a comedian, in case you don't know who I'm talking about. Carlos Miller is a comedian known for being on Wild 'N Out and the 85 South Show comedy tour. And real funny dude, like him a lot. But sometimes, even in his comedy, interesting things come up. And one of the things I was listening to this girl talk, and the more I listen to her talk, I'm like, wait a minute, what is this woman saying? And some couples issues came up, and she said, she made it a point to say, she kept saying, I'm crazy. First of all, she wasn't crazy. If you ain't never been arrested, okay, you ain't crazy, okay? So she was playing tough. I don't know why she kept trying to play tough, but that's what she was doing. And she also said, she made it a point to emphasize good black woman. I'm a good black woman. She could have simply just said, I'm a good woman. But she chose, this ain't Van doing it, this is her doing it. She purposely chose to say, I'm a good black woman. Then, shortly after, it comes out that she's married to a white man and she's with a white man. I'm not against that. Here's the disconnect I have. You can marry who you want, you can date who you want, you can be with whomever you want to be with. I'm not saying that. I don't have nothing against that. That's fine. But don't throw out the image of you being a good black woman. She purposely threw out that image. I'm a good black woman. And for a second, what I want everybody to do is close your eyes. And I'm not talking to white people right now. Again, this is one of them times white people, shut the fuck up. This ain't got nothing to do with you right now. Just sit back and watch, okay? Y'all want to respond and get involved in stuff that y'all ain't supposed to get in. This ain't one of them times. And that being said, black people, we all have an image of a good. I want you to think of it right now. Get a picture in your mind of what a good black woman is. Get that picture in your mind. I'm not controlling your mind. It ain't my picture. It's your picture. Okay? And I put the poll out yesterday, and I think a couple white boys made some posts or whatever, and none of the sisters is jumping in. Y'all always quiet, but I'm trying to defend you. Get in your mind what a good black woman is. You got a picture in your mind. It's your granny, it's your auntie, it's some famous person who you feel represents black womanhood. We all have this image. Now, in that image, can any of you honestly say that woman that you have in your mind, not that I didn't put in your mind, that you put in your own mind, is married to a white man? The answer is no. Now, let's flip it a little bit, because I want to be fair. Same thing. I got into an argument with a couple dudes a couple years ago with this strong black man, and I'm a real black man, and they married the white women. Really? No, you're not a strong black man. In order for you to be considered a strong black man, you need to be partnered with a black woman. You need to be making black families and black babies. If you're not participating in that, then you can't say it. You can say you're a good man. I'm not saying you're a bad dude. You're a good dude. You could be a great dude. But you can't use that phrase, strong black man or strong black woman, if you don't live that. Okay? That same thing like that quote unquote real nigga thing. Okay, everybody want to quote unquote be a real nigga, and some of y'all are fake as shit. Okay, you ain't did shit real in your whole life. Okay, let's just be honest about it. Okay, we can get into that whole topic of some of the qualifications. And I posted a couple of videos. Sister Shahrazad Ali talks about this topic a lot. over the years. You know, she's been running around the country for 30 years talking about shit, maybe more. I mean, so this isn't just Van's concept or Van's ideal. But I did post a video of Sister Shahrazad Ali, and she gives the 7 qualifications or qualities or characteristics, maybe be the better word, of what a good black woman is. Okay, and she goes, you can scroll down my timeline and look for the video clips, or go to YouTube and pull up Sister Shahrazad Ali. 7 qualities and all of that. Her videos are very good. She's very well spoken, a very well spoken woman, and she's wrote a couple of books on the topic. So we have a collective consciousness. All peoples do. All Americans do, all black people do, all white people do. It's a collective consciousness. And she tapped into that with the black consciousness, what should be defined as, or what is defined as a good black woman. And she defines it. Okay? She did a very good job of defining it, I thought. Nowhere in those characteristics is that woman that she's describing married to a white woman. Okay, or any other non-black woman. Okay, let's say maybe that's a better way of saying that. That's how the Health Organization of the World defines races. Okay, it's only 2. It's white and non-white. Everybody fits into that category. Van didn't make that up. That's the white people made that up. I'm just rolling with that definition. Okay, that's the World Health Organization. Don't believe me? Google the shit. Okay. You know, because again, we want to talk about reason. I'm using what y'all put out. This is y'all concept, white people. This is y'all's concept, not Van's concept. Okay? I'm just going by your own definition. Also, let's flip it again. There is no Southern belle or no good white woman who's married to a black man. No white man will ever call a white woman who's married to a black man a good white woman. She might be a good woman, but she ain't gonna be no good quote unquote white woman. Okay? They made laws up to keep that from happening. Again, this isn't Van's concept. This has been going on since colonial times. Okay? When white women were marrying black Africans who had came over here as slaves and indentured servants during the colonial times, it wasn't immediate slavery. The people were functioning together. Poor white women were marrying black Africans. And the white men did not want that to happen. They had a problem with that. So again, don't say, oh, we're going to all be together now, because that's not the way y'all set up the system. Okay? Again, this is your concept, white people. Being very general with that term. This is historical. Okay? Then this is where the slave codes come from. This is where Bacon's rebellions come from. And all of those other rebellions. Okay? That was because they didn't want us to take their money as black men. They didn't want us to get their money. And hell, they didn't even want other poor whites to get their money. And they damn sure they didn't want black people taking their women. Okay? They didn't want that. Now, it wasn't about white men. White men were still free to marry black women at that time. Okay? It was specifically black men was prevented from being with white women. Okay? So you need to analyze your own history before some of you get in your feelings and want to try to make this something other than what I'm saying. Okay? But there's a concept of what being a good black woman is, and it's offensive to me because I know good black women in my life, okay? And they were with black men, always. That's part of it. If you want to have that label, then you need to make different decisions. Okay, you can't get a label, and we do this a lot in our culture. You know, people want to be considered something else that they're not. That's not your definition. I'm sorry, it don't make you a bad person, but black women, I've seen some ain't shit mothers out here, and every last one of them will fight you tooth and nail in the street if you try to tell them they ain't a good woman. Same kind of concept. They out there pimping out their daughters to men and shit, and not doing what they supposed to do for their families. Same thing black men. Black men don't do it as much. I've heard a couple instances of it, but you can't give yourself that label as being a good black man, being a good black woman, if you're not living that life. Okay? Again, doesn't mean you're a bad person. You just don't fit what you're trying to, and they're purposely doing it. They're purposely mentioning, because they don't have to say, oh, I'm a good white woman, or excuse me, I'm a good black woman, or I'm a good black man. They don't have to put that out there. They do not have to put that out there. They're bringing race into the issue. I didn't make that girl say that. She could have just said, hey, I'm a good woman, and went on with the conversation. But by her putting the black emphasis on it, that changed the context of what she was saying. Okay? And I kind of addressed it on another video. Her justification for doing it is because black men are too proud. They have too much pride. What? That's the last thing black men have. Black men have been the most beaten down men and oppressed men and oppressed group of people in this country by every other group of people, including black women. So the problem isn't black men have too much pride. And maybe, this is, sometimes in communication, we get definitions wrong. And I've learned this in my own personal life, where sometimes you have arguments because somebody they have a different definition, or they have a different understanding of what a word means. Okay? And that leads to the disconnect. I think maybe she's wrong on her. Maybe she should have used a different word, and I'd have to speak to her to dig into to dig down on it to find out really what she was trying to say. So maybe I'm misinterpreting her meaning. Okay, but what she said was pride and proud. Okay, that's not anything that should be associated with black men. Okay. We damn sure ain't prideful, okay? We might be arrogant. Some of us may be conceited. Maybe that's what she was trying to say. And then I can agree with that to some extent. But pride is not something that there's a characteristic that you can apply across the board to all black men, okay? But sometimes we have these different definitions, and that leads to the disconnect, because and that's, we can't make up our own words, okay? Words have a meaning, okay? They mean certain things. That's the purpose of communication. If blue didn't mean blue, and blue meant yellow to somebody else, if somebody else was trying to communicate yellow and they kept saying blue, the rest of us are going to be confused, okay? That's what's happening a lot of times in our relationships. We don't take time to say, hey, what do you mean by that? And that's what I would have liked Carlos Miller to had asked her. And it's not his responsibility to ask her, but I would have liked that to say, I would have liked him to key in on what I keyed in on. Because I think sometimes me and him think alike, because he say things I be thinking. But we have to get clarity on what our definitions of words are, okay? You can't say up, but you mean down, and we're never going to get it together. And that's not a black thing. That's anybody. That's whoever you're communicating with. You got to have a set of definitions that's universal, so that way we talking the same things. And I think maybe some of that happened, and I don't know. Got the hiccups. I don't know that's the case. I'm just trying to give the sister a benefit of doubt, okay? Because I don't want to be like I'm just downing her. She was a gorgeous girl. She was very articulate. She wasn't hood, ratchet, and none of that kind of shit. She was trying to be some of that, but she wasn't that naturally. And she shouldn't try to be that. Sisters, you don't have to be ratchet. That's not cute, okay? There used to be a word for that when I was growing up that the older women would call women like that, and it was trashy, okay? Stop being trashy. That's synonymous with today's ratchet. Don't be trashy, okay? But that's become a thing. That's out in the ether now, That's like pussy on the chain wax, okay? That became a thing. I don't know. But Anyway, I think her definition was wrong, and it made me think just on a larger scale, we as black people, particularly we as black men and black women, and across the board, we somehow getting definitions mixed up. And we think words mean one thing when they really mean another thing. And we want to get angry and want to defend what we thought they meant. And the other person is operating on the correct definition, but you operating on the wrong definition. We need to start asking and drilling down and asking each other, what do you mean? Instead of reacting, take time to process what's being said and what's happening around you. And ask the questions. Before I respond to what you just said, let me make sure I understand you. You just said this. Is this what you mean? And rephrase it. Try to rephrase it so that way you can come to a common ground before you attack what's being said. And I think that's where a lot of our problems go wrong. As black men and as black women, we have to get on the same definition. Okay? And as I said in the other video, protect each other. Protect each other, because we haven't been doing a good job, black men, of protecting women, our black women and our daughters. And black women, you have not done a good job. I'm going to tell you. Just like Sister Shahrazad Ali said in the video I watched today, we haven't. Black men have been dissected and analyzed and criticized and humiliated, and maybe humiliated shouldn't be involved in this, but have been investigated since we stepped foot in this country. Black women have not. Black women, for the most part, have been protected, okay, by the system of America, because America's a system. Collectively, it's a system, and black women have been protected and have not had to take responsibility the way other people have had to be responsible for their, particularly black men, for their own bullshit. So it's time for if you're gonna be the boss and you're gonna be the head of the family and all of that, it's been fucked up. That's been happening since about the 70s, or maybe in the 60s that started. Y'all have been running the family, the only group of women on the planet to be the leader in your community. Okay? That's what y'all are, and y'all are proud of that fact. But I don't understand that, because the community has been failing since the 60s. Prior to that, when the men was in charge, somewhat, I mean, really, since we've been in this country, black women have not been under the control or the leadership of black men. That hasn't happened, but for a short, brief of time after slavery, to the beginning of the civil rights movement. That's the brief window, and we had our shit together during that window. We prospered more than we have ever prospered in that country during that historical time period. 1865 to about 1965. It's a 100-year period. We were prospering. When we functioned the way we're supposed to function, the way other groups of women and men function everywhere else in the world. The white man is the leader of his community. The Mexican man is the leader of his community. The Japanese man is the leader of his community. The Middle Eastern man is the leader of his community. Everywhere else in the world, you will never find the woman being the leader of the community except in black America. And we have so much dysfunction because of that, and we have to own up to that and correct it and understand what the problem is. We have to understand what that problem is. And part of that is because y'all want to be right and y'all want to be the bosses, you're not allowing yourself to fix the problem. And we're destroying our communities because of that. And we let the white man tell you that the only thing the black man can do for you is fuck you and give you money. That's what was sold to you. Okay? Well, the black man, I'm here to tell you, the black man has more value than that. We bring more to the table than money and dick. Okay? We do that. That's what we have historically done in the world for thousands of years. We built civilizations before there was money. Okay? right? This ain't, again, study your history. This ain't Van making this up. Black man brings more to your family, brings more to the table. So appreciate a black man, and that's the first thing y'all want to know when you're dating a black man. Where he work at, what kind of car he got, how big his dick is, how good he fuck. Even educated, so-called educated black women, they sexualize themselves. They sexualize themselves. Yeah, because that's what they put forward. The educated black woman with these master's degrees, you ain't gonna see no pictures of their degrees. You're gonna see pictures of what skirt they had on and what outfit they had on to be sexy. Even the educated woman is doing that. Stop leading with that as being the first thing that you use to attract a man. And then you get mad at when the man only wants to fuck you, or when the man is only is interested in sex from you. That's what we've been promoting as a community. We got to stop doing that. Because, see, we were sexualized during slavery. We became sexual objects, both of us, men and women, black men and women. And we're still carrying that trauma and that trait from slavery. It's still in our communities, and we got to start reversing the over-sexualization of ourselves in our communities. We got to stop doing it. And then getting mad and angry when people respond to us as sexual objects. You can't do that if that's all you promoting. Look at your pictures. Look at your pictures. All they do is say it's all about a sexual, your sexuality that you're trying to communicate through your pictures. You're not communicating I'm educated or I'm intelligent through your pictures. You're communicating I can fuck. I got a big ass. I got nice titties. That's important. That stuff has an importance, but we're the only group of people that's doing that. As a whole, as a collective. And this is why a lot of y'all find ain't shit men. It's a lot of them out there. It's a lot of good men out there too, but you're not looking for them and you're not attracting them. You should be putting out there the traits that you want that's beneficial to you as community leaders. But you're not putting out there that. You're not rewarding men for being good leaders and good fathers and good husbands. You're not rewarding the men for that. So that's why those things aren't being perpetuated in the community. And it's sad. It is sad. It is sad. The only thing men respond to is what women want. We don't control it. I don't care what kind of man you are. What defines what men do is what the woman wants, okay? That's what defines us, okay? So if the only thing that rewards us, or that you see as a reward, is good dick and money, that's what men are going to try to do. That's what they're going to look for. This is why 70% of our families are being raised in a single households by single women now. It wasn't like that before. It wasn't like that prior to 1960. We had the opposite happening. We was the highest concentration of married people in the world after slavery. That's what we did. We didn't believe in polygamy and marrying your cousins and all of that kind of shit. That's what they did. That's what they did. The shit R. Kelly, oh, here I go again with the R. Kelly shit, but it's relevant. I'm sorry. The shit R. Kelly was doing, he learned it from Elvis. He learned it from the dude from the John Lewis or whatever the dude name was from the Beatles. That's historical. White men have been doing that. We trying to emulate them now. We got to stop doing that. When black women have always had a prominent role in black society historically. Y'all always want to go back to Africa, in Wakanda. Go back to Wakanda. Who was protecting the king? Okay? You got to pay attention to the iconography. See, the iconography can work for our benefit too. And there was a lot of symbolism and iconography in Black Panther. You think it was an accident? that the women it was women protecting. They was the fiercest warriors on the planet. They was protecting the king. You think that's an accident? It wasn't an accident. That had meaning. But we paying attention to silly shit in the movie and shit. We ain't paying attention to the real symbolism that was in that movie. Who was on the king's throne? His mama. He had his mama there. A black woman was part of his advisory board. Okay, pay attention. They didn't have to put that in there. They didn't have to show you Black Panther's mama. Did they ever show you Iron Man's mama? No. There was what 4 Iron Man movies? You ain't never seen Iron Man's mama. But Black Panther, they made it a point to show you who his mama was. Okay, she was a black woman. Who did the king, who did he go look for as to be his spouse? Okay? Who did he go looking for? He went to go look for the black girl when he jumped out the damn plane. Okay, who was the smartest person in the kingdom? The technology guru, his sister, a black woman. Pay attention to the iconography. Good black women. Okay, this ain't Van making this up. There's that image. It was all in Black Panther. It wasn't none of them black men married to no white women. It wasn't even no white women in Wakanda. But y'all loved that, made that the $1 billion movie. Take something from it that you can use to benefit your own community. Emulate that. Emulate that. Like I said on the other video, stop letting people speak. Stop letting white people speak when they shouldn't speak. Stop doing it. They shouldn't be allowed to continue to speak. They've been doing it for 500 years. It's time to stop. Sometimes they need to shut the fuck up. If you created the problem, white man, you cannot be part of the solution. You are the problem. So somebody else got to step in and straighten your ass out. That's what we do. Okay? You don't fuck up and then do wrong in society, and society let you fix yourself. No, society is going to step in. Somebody else is going to, some other group of people is going to step in. The police are going to step in and correct your ass. Your teachers is going to step in and straighten you out when you out of pocket. That's the way it's supposed to work. But they're the only group of people, I know I'm about to get off topic, but they're the only group of people, white men are, that have not been stepped to. Nobody's corrected them. They trying to pretend like they know what the problem is, and they've been the ones making the problems for everybody. Any group of people who had a problem in this country, you can trace that back to white men. Look at the white women. White women was the second group of oppressed people behind black men. They was oppressed by their own men. So who had to fix that for them? It wasn't white men who fixed that problem. And what did white women do in the 60s? They jumped on our bandwagon. They saw us fix the shit, and they said, hell, well, yeah, that's what we need to do. We gonna start fixing some shit in our community as white women. And that's where the feminist movement came from. That's what happened. Let's be honest. Well, let's be honest. But you can't be the problem and the solution. So if you're the problem, then somebody has to step in and discipline you. This is what you do as parents. You don't let your kids discipline themselves. You discipline them. So as a group of children, when they out of pocket, groups of parents, or collectively or individually, have to address that. That's what happened. In prison, the prisoners don't rule themselves. You got the COs in the prison, and the warden. Okay, somebody else has to step in and correct the problem. And you ultimately have to acknowledge what's happening, but you can't fix yourself because you don't even realize there is a problem. That's why it's been going on for 500 damn years in this country. Pay attention. Pay attention, people. You can't fix yourselves. And we don't do that. We can't have different rules. That's why when we see other countries that's out of pocket, what do? We send our army over there to straighten them the fuck out. That's what we call ourselves doing. which is ridiculous in and of itself because some of these civilizations have been around for thousands of years, longer than America has been in existence. But we want to go govern the world when we ain't even been around that long. But you only got two groups of people who think they can fix themselves and can't nobody check them and put them back in order. That's white men and black women, historically across the world. They the only two groups of people who act like that, who feel like that. Everybody else has been put in check. Every other group of people has been put in check. Every other group of women, there's things that black women can get away with that white women can never get away with. I'm sorry, because that started in slavery. We got to go back. Not gonna happen. I mentioned it on the other video. The Mexican men ain't letting their women run the streets at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't remember seeing a whole bunch of Mexican women out. Ever. You damn sure ain't gonna see no Asian women out. I ain't talking about going to the club and it's a Saturday night. I ain't even talking about that kind of thing. I'm talking about just being out on a Tuesday. You can always find white men out and you can always find black women out. Always. Historically in this country, that's always been the case. Hell, black men wasn't allowed to walk the streets after slavery during the daytime. We getting thrown right back into slavery. Okay, there was laws for that. But there wasn't no laws to do that to black women. Black women were still allowed to be out in the street. Okay, but the black men, if you was a black man after slavery out in the street, what's the first thing they want to do? They want to know where you live at and where you work. You just got out of slavery. You ain't had no job in no house. So, hey, I'm sending you back to the plantation. This was laws. This man ain't making this up. This was laws on the books. See, that's the problem with what we learn in schools. Okay, see, in schools, they don't teach. What they teach is they teach colonial times barely, then they teach slavery, then they skip all the way to civil rights. Wait a minute, it's 100 years in between the end of the Civil War and the beginning of civil rights. It's 100 years. What happened during that time period? Let's talk about that. But see, we had our shit together during that time, so that's one reason they don't want to talk about it. And they did a lot of fucked up shit during that time. So they damn sure don't want to talk about that. The only way you're going to heal and get past shit is if you address it. If somebody stabs you in the back with a knife, if you never pull the knife out, you're never going to be healed. That's what black America is facing. The knife is still in our backs. We have never been allowed to pull it out at all. So we can't heal from it. That's a symbolism for y'all. Okay? So when you say let's get over slavery, you ain't telling the Japanese people to get over fucking the internment camps that they went through after the World War II. You ain't telling no Jewish people to get over the Holocaust. You ain't telling the white people in New York to get over 9/11. But you want black people to forget slavery. We supposed to, it's over with. But we supposed to remember all this other shit. You damn sure ain't gonna tell no Mexican to get over when you took the country from them. You ain't did that. So stop telling us to do that shit. We're not supposed to get over it. We should remember it. And so we can move past that together with y'all. See, black and white people have more in common than you think. We was together in the beginning. It wasn't until the plutocrats separated us. That's what happened. We was together. We was hanging out together. We was working together in the beginning. That's what happened. We need to get back to that, white people and black people. Get back to that. We all poor. We ain't got shit. It's like 3 white men who got all the money in the country. It's 3 of them. 3. It's Bill Gates, Bezos, and the other dude. They got all the money. The rest of us are poor. Why are we fighting each other? Why are you letting them tell you on their team? You ain't on Jeff Bezos' team. You on my team, poor white man. Me and you together. We going to work together. That's the truth. I know I'm getting off topic, but that's the truth. We supposed to be on the same team because we have more in common. We go into the grocery store together. Our kids is going to school together. Their kids don't go to school with our kids. Their kids is going to private school. We was raising y'all's kids. Historically, that was the primary job of the black woman after slavery. She was a nanny to the working class white man. She was raising your kids. Hell, sometimes she was breastfeeding your goddamn kids. And you gonna let this rich white man, Trump, who ain't never even bought groceries, tell you that you ain't supposed to be with your black neighbor? That shit is crazy. And it didn't start with Trump. It's been going on since the colonial times. Rich white men have been playing that game with poor white men since colonial times. Go back to Bacon's Rebellion. I keep saying, I said it in 3 videos now today. Go back and study your history. Why did that happen? Because poor white men and poor black men got together and said, fuck that. We ain't letting these rich white people tell us what to do. That's what happened. We was together. We was hanging out together. You wasn't even called white back then. You was Irish, or you was European, you was English, you was something else. You didn't call yourselves a white man. That was something that the rich white man came up with to keep you. What he said is, listen, we outnumbered. If they get together, we gonna be outnumbered. So we gotta figure out how not to have this happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to give the poor white man some little bit of land and a little bit of power. So we're going to they came up with the concept of white people. Before that, historically, you had never been called white people. Ever. Prior to that time, it was like 1680 or whatever it was. That's when the concept of white people came into existence. And it was designed to hurt you. They didn't give you shit. All they said is you better than black people. That's what they gave you. That's what they gave you. And some of y'all are holding on to that. Because no matter how poor you are, some of you hillbilly ass motherfuckers up there in West Virginia is poor as shit and ain't got shit. But you still believe you're better than black people. You ain't got shit. You don't own no coal mining factories. Or no, you don't own the mine. It's some rich person that owns the mine. But he got you thinking you're still better off being white and poor than being black and rich. How the fuck did that happen? But y'all fell for that and bought into the concept. That's where they created the slave patrols. We gonna make you better than people. We gonna let you whoop their ass so you feel like you got a little bit of power. That's how that whole concept of slavery came in. You're better than them. At least you're not them. That's what happened. Before that happened, we was working together. That's what happened. We was working together. Stop letting them divide us. That's what needs to happen. We need to get back to what was working in the beginning. We was functioning together. And you still got that saying, it ain't just West Virginia, and I didn't mean to pick on them, but you can go out to North Dakota or Wyoming or one of them Midwestern states. You got poor white people who ain't got shit voting against their own interests. What is the Republicans saying now? What are they getting on TV? So socialism, and they made socialism a cuss word. Y'all the motherfuckers that been benefiting from it. What do you think them farm subsidies are? Socialism. When they gave y'all all that free land, what the fuck did you think? It wasn't from hard work, because that's what they want to tell you. Oh, you hard working capitalism. That ain't built shit. Hard-working capitalism ain't built no highways. Hard-working capitalism didn't build the rail system. You know what built it? a lot of motherfuckers with guns making other people do shit. That's socialism. That's what built this country. It wasn't no fucking immigrants built this country. When the immigrants came here, the country was built already. It was already here. The Mexicans ain't building shit. It was already here. They came here to a country. The Irish, when they came over to New York, they came to a city. New York was a city when all of them European immigrants came over here. It was a city already. What built this country? What built the railroad systems? The goddamn Japanese built the railroads because they had guns pointed at their heads. That's socialism. The tax cut that Trump just passed, and he gave all of the money to the plutocrats and the corporations. That's socialism. That's a redistribution of wealth. That's socialism. But the plutocrats have convinced y'all that that's not. What you getting ain't socialism. What states benefit from socialism the most? The Midwestern states. So all y'all white people out there in the Midwestern states who don't like black people and brown people, y'all are benefiting from tax dollars that come from black people and brown people. Because the rich white man ain't paying no taxes. Trump ain't paying no taxes. Exxon ain't paying taxes. Amazon ain't paying taxes. You better wake the fuck up. You better wake up. And they like to tell you, I done been on the sites and some of the groups, oh, Van, he don't like white people. I ain't never said no shit like that. I love white people. Are you kidding me? You hear what my daughter just said? She just told her boyfriend who's white, I love him. You goddamn right. If something happened to him, I'd be trying to kill somebody out here over him. Believe it. White people, you better wake up. It's your black friends that's going to save you sometimes. And black people, you better wake up. It's your white friends that's going to save you. Because sometimes you need the white people to talk for you because you don't know how to talk to other white people. So you need to get your white friends to talk for y'all. You better wake up. We needed each other in the beginning. We still need each other, but they let us separate us so they can make all the money. That's what's been happening. That's what's been happening in America. It's all about money. And that's what pissed me off. And I know I got way, way off topic from what I originally was talking about, the good black woman. No, you are not a good black woman if you're married to a white man. You are a good woman. You are a good American woman. That's what you should call yourself. Hey, I'm a good American. Say that. But don't take that image from Wakanda and put it on you when it don't apply to you. Let's be real about that. Black man, no, you are not a strong black man in that scenario. No, you're not. No. You may be a good American man, but you're not a good black man. No. Stop putting labels and trying to rechange the iconography, okay? They did that with Jesus, okay? So you know they're going to do it with anybody else. Let's be real about it. What was the white man who played Jesus in the movie? I can't even remember it. Jesus did not look like that. Jesus probably looked like Cat Williams. Jesus was more like Cat Williams than he was. I can't remember the white man's name. It's an old movie where he played Jesus. That wasn't Jesus. He looked like Cat Williams. He was short. It was short. Where Jesus was from was Ethiopia in Egypt. He was in that area. Okay? They wasn't tall white men. They were short black men. Stop letting people sell y'all images. That's not representative of what it was. How did Jesus leave Nazareth and go to Africa and hide in Africa if he was white and tall? No, that's not what happened. Stop letting people tell you that. Iconography is important. Iconography is very important. Stop doing that, people. Stop letting these plutocrats, and I say that word a lot. I don't know if I've defined it in the past on the video, but plutocrats, we focus on being party orientated so much, Republican and Democratic and liberal and libertarian and all of this. No, what matters is the working people and the plutocrats. The plutocrats are the rich, wealthy people who are behind the scenes controlling everything. They are controlling everything behind the scenes. And it's a small group of them. That's the 1% of the 1%. Ain't none of us working people in that position. And stop believing lies. Stop letting people lie to you when the truth is available more ever than it have ever been in history. If you go back to Egypt, poor people couldn't read the scrolls. They didn't want them to have the knowledge. That started way back, and it wasn't even called Egypt. It was called Kemet. Stop letting them hide the information from us. We have the internet now. Use that shit. I just told y'all about the little white boy Ethan who was brilliant, and he was trying to give his mother the knowledge about the vaccines. He went and got the knowledge for himself. We got to get it for ourselves. And he looked at what his mother was trying to show him. And he was trying to explain to her, Mom, no, that's fake news. You got to stop reading that. That's fake, and it's obvious it's fake. You got to stop believing that. Here's the real information. That's what the plutocrats have been doing. I told you before, I don't know if it was this video or the other one, but propaganda is a powerful weapon. It's the most powerful weapon on the planet. And they've been using it against y'all. That's why a lot of y'all voted for Donald Trump. How? How the fuck did that happen? Donald Trump has been going into bankruptcy for 20 years. Okay? He ain't been successful at shit, but stealing money from people for 20 years. How did y'all let him become president? That's racism. I'm not saying people who voted for Trump was racist. I'm not saying that. The system that put Trump in place, which is the Electoral College, which was set up based on racism, is what put Trump in the college. And that's what put Trump into the damn the campus of the White House. That's racism that did that. Understand what the Electoral College is. That was the compromise. Y'all don't remember your history? The Great Compromise? That's what the compromise was, because the white Southern farmers who owned all of the slaves knew they was going to be outnumbered, that they let black people vote. So they made black people 3/5 of a human. That was the compromise. That was the compromise. So they could remain control over the slaves in the South and over the money in the South. It always comes back to money. That's what it's always about. It ain't about I don't like white people or white people don't like me. It's about goddamn money. That's what it's about. And who controls that? That's what the Electoral College is all about. That's why you got these hillbillies out in states where they got 2 people in the town and they got 50 damn electoral votes versus a state that got all of the people in it and only got 2. Understand the system and how it's affecting y'all. And I always tell these kids, they got to vote. You got to participate in the system. Me and my daughter was having this conversation it might have been yesterday we was talking about it, where she's excited and ready to vote, and she's getting involved in the process and starting to look at candidates, and because she knows she's going to be 18 this year in July, and she's going to be able to vote for the next president. She's excited about that process, and I'm excited for her. She's looking to participate in the system. Right, we feeling the burn over here right now. As of right now, I don't know. Bernie might be getting too old. We might have to run with somebody else. But as of now, we feeling the burn. Okay? But we can't vote for Kamala Harris because she's married to a white man, or she's married to a non-black man. Excuse me, I was corrected earlier by somebody. She's not married to a black man, so she can't represent the black family. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. I'm sorry. I like you. We'll make you Secretary of State or some shit like that, but you can't be president, girl. We'll give you a little job somewhere in the White House. We'll give you a little job. That's what we did. What y'all laughing at? That's what we did for Hillary. Hillary couldn't represent the American people. Are you fucking kidding me? She wasn't a good candidate. That's why she lost to Trump. It wasn't because of the Russians. They had some part of it. But we dropped the ball by trying to push Hillary Clinton. She wasn't a good candidate. She didn't represent white people good. When she fucked up with Bill Clinton, I know white women was just cringing. How the hell did she let that happen? I know they was asking themselves that. That's not a good representation of us as white women. She doesn't represent the white family. No, that bitch didn't, she don't speak for us. Every time Hillary Clinton get on TV, it's a bunch of white women rolling their eyes in this country. You can't have somebody like that representing the people. I'm sorry. And she damn sure wasn't for black people. Because what did she call black people? She called black boys predators. She put that whole concept, that didn't come from rednecks, that came from Hillary Clinton. But I'm getting off topic. We need to come back together, people. We need to come back together. Poor people need to come together so we all can prosper. We need to raise the minimum wage too. That's about poor people. That ain't about black or white or Mexican. That's about poor people. They need to raise the minimum wage. I was trying to teach that to my daughter. That's important. Because the businesses will not survive. That's why you never seen gas stations go out of business. How the fuck does that happen? A gas station goes out of business? People, all of these cars on the road, how did the gas station go out of business? Because ain't nobody got no money to support that business. Rich people, rich white men are not buying gas. They ain't even driving themselves. They don't raise their own kids. They got nannies. So the people who are supporting your economy is the working people. So you need to make sure the working people have more money to buy shit. You gotta have it. I don't care where you work. Some poor person is buying your product. Okay, black woman, white man, black man, white woman. We all poor and we all working. Most of us are not making $100,000 a year or more. That's not what we're doing. We're poor working people. We all trying to get by. We got to have more money. In the government, there's a socialism coming into place because on their own devices, the plutocrats would not pay us. They were paying us slave wages. When we was working together in the factories, the poor white men and the poor black man was working together in the factory and we was dying. We was being worked to death in the factories. And it wasn't until we banded together and formed unions where we started getting raises and forcing the plutocrats to give us more money so we could support our families. So I don't care what your business is, you need your customers to be able to afford your business. How can you be working in a factory and you can't afford to buy the product that you're making yourself? That's crazy. You are the number one customer. How did Henry Ford make the biggest car company in the world? Because he made his employees the number one customers. He paid them more so that they can afford the product that he was selling. If we don't do that, we're going to run out of products. We ain't going to be able to keep the factories open. We ain't going to be able to do it. We can't keep shipping jobs to China. Eventually, the Chinese people are going to wake up. Eventually, it's going to happen. Y'all better understand how economics works. Okay, Labor is always going to find the highest wages, not the other way around. I don't care. That's why the Mexicans is coming here. That's why all these other groups of people have come here so they can make more money. That's what economics is. That's what capitalism is. If y'all are supposed to be capitalists, you would support a higher minimum wage. That's what capitalism is. You got to be able to pay the people. The people got to be able to pay for rent. You can't keep starving people, and that's where the crime comes from. If people ain't making enough money to take care of their families, they're going to find a way to get that money another way. They're going to steal it, they're going to rob it, they're going to sell drugs. If you want to get rid of that stuff, then you got to pay the people. That's the way it works. That's the only way it's going to work. And yeah, some prices might go up, and it hasn't happened ever. So if you look historically at where wages have gone up, and I know I'm getting off topic, but I'm going to say this. If you look where wages have gone up, when minimum wage has been raised, the prices have not gone up too. That hasn't happened. The Clinton years was good, and we had a minimum wage increase. They was good years. Everybody was prospering. But because of this concept of white privilege that the plutocrats sold y'all, okay, you vote against your own best interest. I remember talking to a business owner one time, and he was, and I think I changed his mind. I'm not sure if I did or not. I think I did, and we had a conversation. This is the one Mitt Romney was giving a speech and. At the time when he was running against Barack, and we were talking, but we had a very good, again, you got to have that conversation, that communication. So we had that conversation, and he was like, I'm against minimum wage. I said, you as a business owner, all of your customers are poor black people and poor white people. So you running around hunting people down to pay you, and they owe you money. And it's not that they don't want to pay you. This is what I said to them. They want to pay you. They just can't pay you. They robbing Peter to pay Paul. So you are Paul right now. Or you Peter. They robbing you to pay Paul. Your service is not a necessity. The light bill man is the necessity. So your service is the one who, when push comes to shove, they're going to short you. I said, you should be for minimum wage as a business owner who's selling a service to poor people. You should be wanting minimum wage to go up so the people who you are selling shit to has the money to pay you back. I don't care what your service is. I'm not going to tell what his business is. I'm not going to put him out there like that because I ain't got his permission to do that. But whatever your service is, if you're selling cars, because it ain't rich people buying cars, it's poor people going to work. Rich people sitting in their mansions, they don't go to work. It's the poor people who buying cars. So you want them to be able to make the car payment every month. If you got a grocery store, it's the poor people who's grocery shopping. Donald Trump ain't never bought no groceries. It's the poor people who's buying groceries. So they need to have money for groceries. This is what the disconnect was when he shut the government down. They were saying stupid shit. Oh, they should just be able to go get a loan. It don't work like that. You can't just go borrow money from somebody. It don't work that way. You got to be able to buy groceries. The rent man wants his money. So put more money in your employees' hands. And this is proven. This is economics 101. This has been proven. If you ever balanced a profit and loss statement, if you ever had to run a restaurant or a business, it's cheaper to pay your employees than to hire new ones cheaper. That's the facts. This is what the companies used to do 50 years ago. This is why they was prospering. They wasn't making the record profits that they make now, but they was prospering. The employees was doing good, the communities was doing good, and everybody, for the most part, was happy. For the most part. My grandparents' generation, they was happy. They was buying houses and taking vacations and buying cars every couple of years. That wasn't for them. That didn't just benefit them. That bought the people that they was buying houses from and cars from and other products from. If you're in the business of selling hospitality and hotels and shit like that, you gotta have people who can afford to come to your shit. It's not a bunch of rich people that can keep you in business. It's a bunch of poor people that's doing it. That's who's keeping you in business. I got off topic. The topic of this video was, what is your image of a good black woman? That's the concept of the video. What is your image? And represent that image. And know, if you're married to a white man, black woman, you are not representing the image of a good black woman. No, white woman, if you're married to a black man, you're not representing the image of a good white woman. I didn't make the rules. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Okay, I didn't make the rules. That's all I gotta say. Mute Meadows, follow V.